Okay, that was easy. So we are ready to go. Okay, my love. So welcome everyone to this session on how to heal childhood trauma with ease and joy. Now, I know maybe the title of this session sounds a bit intimidating. Trauma is a big, 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 big word. But the first message I want to send today is that trauma is not just what we call the big T trauma, right? So that would involve like maybe abuse, domestic violence, a big accident, like something really like a really, really strong event with a very emotional charge. And obviously, if anyone has been victim of abuse or an attack or something like that, that is like a higher level of trauma. And then everything I'm going to say here about healing and overcoming that might take a bit longer. But also, we have what we call the small T traumas, which doesn't necessarily involve such a strong event or such an intense event, but just something like someone laughing at you at school, or your parents not paying a lot of attention when you came back to school, something like being rejected at school or being bullied by one of your siblings, sometimes even just something really minor like a comment from someone saying, oh, don't be silly, or you're so silly, or you're useless, something like that, that is done without any negative intention, can leave a big imprint. Every event, every experience we go through in life, especially up to the age of 6 to 7 years, leaves an imprint in ourselves. It can be positive or negative, right? So throughout our life, we go through all different forms of experiences, from when you're born and how your mom bonds with you. And we don't remember this, right? Because we're so young. So I don't remember anything about being a baby. But that doesn't mean that the subconscious mind is not integrating that. So starting from the love that you received or you didn't receive from your mother when you were 1-2 months old, throughout the whole parenting process with your parents, your siblings, anyone else in the family, going to school, and then throughout the teenager years. Oh, those wonderful teenager years. Aren't they wonderful? Aren't they like the most challenging time in life, right? Because you think you're an adult, but you're not, obviously, but also you're not a kid anymore. So yeah, all those situations, and then romantic relationships, every experience leaves an imprint. Everything we experience leaves an imprint that can be positive or negative. With everything we experience, we make decisions. We make decisions about ourselves, about others, and about the world. So if we grew up, right, I saw someone couldn't hear, but I can see other people can hear. So I'm assuming it's not my end. So thank you for that, guys. So with every decision we make, then that has an impact on the feelings, behaviors, thoughts that we have as adults. And the thing is that if you grew up in a very empowering environment and your parents told you that you could do anything, that you're perfect the way you are, and you were exposed to such positive beliefs and encouragement, you were treated with love and understanding, and you experienced forgiveness and compassion, you probably developed certain beliefs about, maybe you feel confident now. Probably you develop some beliefs about, wow, I can do anything in the world, and you become a very empowered, confident person, and you don't have a lot of stored emotions, you don't have a lot to release. Now the reality is that very, very, very few people in the world are only I was about to say, did anyone here have those parents? Do they exist? I was literally about to say very few people in the world, if at all, were only exposed to that positive programming, to that empowering approach, to that unconditional love. Our parents are not perfect. And we are not perfect as parents, or if we become parents, right? So the reality is that pretty much everyone has experienced some form of trauma, even if it's just a small trauma, some unpleasant events, or some negative programming during childhood. And even though many people don't want to look back at their childhood, and I can understand why, the reality is that if something is not working in your life, if there is a pattern that keeps repeating again and again and again, like the same, relationships always end up the same way. I always end up in the same type of work with the same type of boss. If something repeats again and again, if you feel limited, if you feel small, like you could do much more, but you feel like there is something holding you back. If you feel bad for some reason and it's something familiar, like an old feeling, like again, like, oh, it doesn't matter what happens in life, I always end up, Friday evening going to bed thinking, what's the point? So when those things, the reality is that if that is happening, very, very, very likely the root of it, or the reason why it's happening, it's because of some decision or something that happened in early childhood. And I understand that people don't want to do this, because sometimes the approach to do that is bloody painful. But honestly, all the answers to figure out any problem, any challenge, any area of your life where you might feel stuck, very likely the answers are all in the past. Now, this doesn't mean that we need to just settle. It doesn't mean that there is nothing to do about it and we have to just suck it up. It doesn't mean that we can't change. No, if anything, the opposite. Like I said at the beginning, I want this session to be really empowering, and it's all going to be about giving you the tools to move on from whatever is keeping you stuck from the past, so you can move forward to create the life you truly want to live. And many people don't want to do this because if you've ever done talking therapy, I'm a big fan of talking therapy. I like it. I think it can be very useful to start gaining awareness, and understanding your patterns, your behaviors. But it is true that eventually it gets to a point where you become an expert about your problems, but you're not resolving them, if you know what I mean. And that can be very painful. Going there to speak to someone every week to talk about how your parents did this to you and how you suffer in childhood and school and they treated you badly and all of this. And you're like, yeah, okay, right, I understand that maybe that's why I don't feel very confident these days. Maybe I understand that's why I don't have the best relationships. But I just feel even worse because I've been moving all this stuff. It's like moving dirty water around. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't drain. It's still there. So it can be very painful to remember certain things, to talk about certain things, if you are not resolving them, if you are not healing them. So I can understand how therapy has a bad reputation and how some people think, no way, I don't want to talk about my childhood. The past is in the past and I don't want to go there. But the reality is that we are what we have experienced. And we can change. We are here today. We're not in the past anymore. We are here today. The future is ahead of us. And we have a choice to do. We have a choice to make. We can choose to leave that in the past. We can't change to rewrite our story. Because at the end of the day, I always say trauma is not about, or any unpleasant experience or anything you were exposed to, it's not about what happened, but the story that lives within us after the years, the story we tell ourselves. And that's what we can change. And that's our responsibility. We can't change what happened to us. We can't change our family. We can't change what we were exposed to. I don't have a magic wand for that. If anyone has found one or if it's available on Amazon, please let me know. I don't know if I will want to use it anyway, but yeah, but we can't change that, right? But what we can change, and we should change, because it's our responsibility and only our responsibility, is the story that lives within us, the self-narrative, the beliefs, the decisions we made. That we can change. And sometimes it's very, very, very easy and very simple to do when you have the right tools. By talking about it again and again and again, it helps to let it out. It helps gain in awareness. But if you really want to heal it and release it emotionally, you need to do something else. So that's what I want to share with you guys. And I know there's a lot of comments that I need to catch up on, but that's what I'm going to be sharing in the rest of the sessions. Because originally I trained as a counselor, so I did all this talking therapy for myself. It was wonderful. I absolutely loved it. I used it with my clients, but then I felt like there was a bit of a ceiling that I was hitting. And then I started learning more about trauma and how some energy-based techniques can help. And I've trained in many different disciplines. So what I want to share with you today is a combination, or the key elements that I use now with my clients that to help you achieve results. So let me catch up with the comments, because I know that you guys always have some really useful insights, and you're all in amazing journeys in your life. Right, so I think it starts here. Hi, Claudia, and welcome. She's saying, I had that, but they weren't ideal either. But I had what Veronica speaks about, my grandparents and mother. So so we've all have been exposed to someone who wasn't the healthiest or wasn't at the best, some negative programming. We have to normalize. It's fine, like it's life. No one is perfect. So right. Yeah, saying my journal through today was that it's not the extent of the trauma that causes limiting beliefs and unhelpful patterns, is when the trauma has stuck in your body and is unresolved, unreleased. Absolutely. And I'm going to talk a lot about, because sometimes we don't even remember what happened or why we made that decision, but it's just in the body. Absolutely. So one of the main things I'm going to talk about is about that emotional release and how to just get it out of the body. And then we can think more about any beliefs or any self-narrative that we might want to rewrite. They're saying, I'm hoping it's that simple. I can just release the emotions. It is simple. It's not easy. It's not the same thing, but it is simple. I promise you. Like if you've been to some of my workshops before, I have a lot of content. I have a lot of talks here. And the process is relatively simple. People try to make it complicated with all these sophisticated healing techniques, and the process is quite simple. You'll see. It's just that it takes courage. It takes courage because it requires to go into deeper layers of oneself, and it requires taking responsibility, which is what most people don't want to do or are not ready to do, because I was there, and I was at a point in time where I was like really messed up, and after a very traumatic divorce from my parents, and as a teenager, young adult, I was really messed up, and I was just wearing a mask, of no emotions, very cold and all that, and I just wasn't ready to. Well, I wasn't even aware that I had to do some healing, but when I started to figure it out, like it was like maybe I wasn't ready. So we're all in different stages of our own journey. Liz is saying talk therapy for me didn't work. Claudia is saying talk therapy helps me. Useful to understand and talk, but doesn't change the core beliefs. Yeah, help me, but it depending on the therapist. Yeah. I don't really talk in circles in therapy. It flows. So as you saw, it depends on the person. Of course, it does depend a lot on the therapist, because sometimes if the therapist can create that really safe space for you with unconditional love, not judgmental space, like, and it just lets you reflect and process, it can be really, really powerful. It can be really, really powerful. For some people, it's like, not for me. So it depends on the person. It depends on the therapist. But yeah, I always like to go a bit deeper and using other techniques. And you're saying, can't wait to hear your practical tips. Yeah, we're going to get started in a second. Energy healing has come into my field thanks to inside timer. It's really helping me heal. Yeah, absolutely. It's really wonderful. Kelly saying, changing the way I respond when re-triggered. Yeah. Are we ever truly completely healed? I feel like I'm always working on something. Yeah, absolutely. I think let's get a bit philosophical here. Why not? I'm a bit spiritual here. Why not? I do believe that we come here for a reason, that we come here to learn lots of different lessons. We come here with a purpose, and with purpose doesn't necessarily mean, like career or, or do something for the world. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it's just learning some lessons and working on a topic. So I do believe that while we are here in this physical body, there is always something that we can improve, that we can heal, that we can let go of. When we become our most healed self, when we don't have anything else to do, I think is when it's time to go home, right? So yeah, I think that life is a journey of constant learning and growth. So I hear you, and I feel the same. After so many years of having done so much healing, different therapies, different modalities, there's always something to work on. So I take it as a challenge, and like when you're in uni and or doing a training or a course, and that you still have a lot to learn. Same idea. Yeah, Claudia saying, I did the inner work years before I went into therapy. So yeah, so maybe you released a lot, and then talking therapy helps you figure things out. And yeah, it's different for every person. Evie saying, very much had this experience in therapy, gave me the understanding of my trauma, but didn't help with actually being able to manage the consequences. Yeah. Similar to me. I see it as a kind of a first step in the process, and as another tool in the journey, but not the only one. And that's also something that I want to stress here. And I'm going to share now different tools and different techniques. And I don't believe that there is one size fits all, like something that works for everyone. And that's why throughout my career as a therapist, for me, the key has been to integrate different elements, talking therapy, that therapeutic background, coaching, more goals orientated, forward looking, healing, energy healing, the more body release, breath work, something that we can do. And it's not the one is the best, and this is about like, well, let's see which one is the right one. No, it's just about using what works from, or the elements that work and are useful from each one. Yeah, I process emotionally first, and therapy helps to process mentally, understanding. Yeah, makes sense. Nia saying, I agree that we have to be accountable for our life and choices. It's tough having to work through ancestral trauma, though. That feels very unfair. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like, yeah, I've inherited this from this lineage, and yeah, I didn't choose it. But Jay saying, yeah, I'm fed up fighting this nonsense. It is unfair. You're right. It is unfair. But let me get a bit philosophical here again. Let me play devil's advocate here. Because I also do believe that we come here, whatever lessons we come here to learn, maybe instead of thinking it feels very unfair that I need to heal this, how about you are the one to break the pattern? Claudia saying the soul chose it. Yeah. How about you decided to come here to break that ancestral trauma, to be the cycle breaker, and to be the one who makes a difference, and to be the one who doesn't pass that along if you have kids, or yeah, sounds like it resonates. Yes, and I definitely am. So yes, sometimes we choose. I do believe that when we come to this world again, we choose the family we come to. It's not random. I do believe we choose our family. I do believe we choose our parents based on the lessons you have to learn. Now, does this mean that if someone hurts you, that's justified? No, definitely no. They're very different things, right? But you can also see with that element of, or rephrase it into, I'm here to bring the change, And then is it unfair, or is it a challenge and a beautiful opportunity? Again, it's all about rewriting the story. It's all about what you want to believe and how you want to see it. But yeah, I know what you mean, that it can feel a bit like, I'm a bit fed up with this. Anyway, let's get practical, guys. So you're probably going to be familiar with some of the techniques I'm going to talk about if you have come to my theta healing meditation sessions before or to my tapping sessions before. So we're not going to go in depth. So we're not going to do like a long meditation today or a long tapping session today. What I want to share with you is the elements I use and the tools and the techniques I use. And then if you want to explore deeper, I have lots of resources available already here, recorded meditations, other previous sessions when I do some guided healing or some guided meditations. So yeah, this is just the key elements. So after having done, tried, experimented with, and trained in different modalities, for me, the key steps to overcome and to heal childhood trauma, the first step is to release, to go through the emotional release and to bring the body, because like, I can't remember, I think it was, I don't know if it was Nia or Claudia, I can't remember. Someone said it's stored in the body. They said, look at us, warriors against ancestral trauma. Absolutely. That's what you are. Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, pioneers. Yeah. Choose the name you want, but yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the trauma gets stored in the body. Every time there is, like a shock or a trauma, and with trauma, again, that can be, like we can be talking about like really serious stuff like sexual abuse or domestic violence, but it could also be your mom yelling at you. As a 3-year-old, you might experience that as a shock. And then the body, because we are balls of energy, and if we think, I like to think about ourselves like a ball of light where energy flows through. So if you think about the energy meridians, the energy channels that you would work on with acupuncture, or if you think about the chakras or the energy centers, when there is a shock or something painful, something unpleasant, that energy flow gets interrupted. And then that gets stored in the body. I like to think about it like kind of like dirty pockets of energy or blockages. If you think about a pipe through which the water should flow, suddenly there is a block, there is a bit of dirt there, and the water doesn't flow properly. And that's literally what happens in the body. That energy flow is disrupted. And that shows in the form of physical symptoms as well. That's what shows as disease, pain in certain parts of the body, headaches. With women, it affects our cycle a lot. So many of our problems with cycle, menstruation, etc., come from an emotional origin, right? Endometriosis could be an example, definitely. And there is a whole line of work about how each part of the body represents certain emotions. Which one is, I wanna share that. It's called Metaphysical Anatomy. It's a really big book that I really like. And yeah, it tells you based on the physical symptom or the condition, it tells you where the emotional, so it's like a mapping of what the potential emotional root would be. So there is a big line of work around it. So one of the first things I do with the clients I work with is bring the body to that state of harmony, because when the energy is not flowing, when we are completely blocked and the body is still in fight or flight response, and most of us have been in fight or flight response for years and years and years and years. And what the fight or flight response is on, the hormonal changes and the body processes that start taking place are the same ones as if a lion were chasing you. Exactly the same response. So that means if you are in fight or flight, if you're in that stress response because of something that happened, even if it happened 20 years ago, but if you haven't released it, your body still thinks that there is a lion chasing you. And that is not good, because as human beings, we are not designed to be in this fight or flight or stress response for long periods of time. It is a very useful mechanism that protects us from danger, obviously, because if there is a lion chasing us, we need to bloody run as fast as we can, right? So then the body releases all these hormones to tell you, okay, babe, now you have to run as fast as you can, or fight this lion if you think you're strong enough to beat it. Or also you can go into the freeze response, which is just pretend you're deaf and hope that he runs away. Now, in the animal kingdom, they do this, and as soon as the lion is gone, it's very funny because you see them and they literally shake it off. And they don't spend their life thinking, oh my God, a monkey in the jungle doesn't spend his life thinking, oh my God, what happened with that lion? It was terrible. I'm not going to sleep at night. Do you think that monkey doesn't sleep at night because the lion chased it? No, it's just part of nature. They just shake it off. They went through that experience. They needed those hormones. They needed that emotional or that bodily response to survive that moment. But then after that, it's gone. They don't talk about it with their peers. Oh my God, that lion. Oh, you should have seen the lion that chased me. It was much bigger than that. Oh, you should have seen mine. And the thing is that in the modern world, many things can be perceived as a threat. An email from your boss, an argument with your partner or with a loved one, a conflict with the kids. There are lots of different forms of watching the news. I threw my TV away 9 years ago, best decision of my life. Oh my goodness. Is there anything but fear and lies in there? So yeah, so even just having the radio in the background and hearing those things can put you in that state of fight or flight. So the first thing I do when I work with someone is bring that emotional intensity down. Whether that's through unblocking the energy flow, correcting and making sure that the energy flows again, turning off that fight or flight system, releasing any emotions. Sometimes we need to cry, but we haven't cried in decades. And once you open the door, it's like, oh my God, I can't stop. Am I ever going to stop crying? And it's so good. It's so releasing. It's so healing to let that out. Right? But like I say, it's not about spending 1 year in therapy crying your ass off every week, without resolving anything. So I like 2 modalities in particular. And if you've come to my tapping sessions, my emotional freedom technique sessions, you know what I'm talking about already. But for anyone who's not familiar with that, I'm going to explain how it works. So you've probably, if you haven't come to my sessions, maybe you've heard about tapping or emotional freedom technique. You've seen people tapping on different parts of the face and the body while they say some weird statements. And that is really wonderful because that's a series of points. So it's based on the meridian system. So if you think about acupuncture, and when you have a problem, you go to the acupuncturist and they put some needles. They're like, right, okay, so we need to work on this organ system. So I'm going to put some needles along this meridian to get the energy flowing. And then you sat there and the energy moves and you feel much better. I'm a big fan of acupuncture. Really, 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 really big fan. So with tapping, what we're doing is we're just tapping into certain points, into a set of points that target all of these meridians. And what we do, rather than just doing a generic one, we do it while we focus on something we want to release. So for example, that could be the stress I'm feeling today, the fear I'm feeling before my interview, the resentment I'm feeling suddenly against my mother. I can't deal with my husband. I'm so fed up with the kids complaining about everything, whatever that is. So when you're tapping into the energy system, into the meridian system, and you're specifying what you want to work on, what you want to release, it's like you're giving your body extra instructions. It's like, hey, energy system, this is what I need to get out of the body. So find where it is in the body and let's get it out, because it's not helping us. So I've done here lots of, and I have them in my YouTube channel if you want to have a look and follow along. And actually, I think it's scheduled already for next Thursday. Next Thursday, I'm going to do a tapping session. What I can't remember is the topic I chose, and I always do the same. I schedule an event and then I forget what it's about. Anyway, I think it's about fear. I think it's about releasing fear, but don't quote me 100% on this one. So I will do a follow along one where you can come and follow. But yeah, the idea is that instead of saying, I resent my mother so much because she was never available and she just had like 100 different boyfriends. She was never available for me. She sent me to boarding school where I was in misery for 3 years. And yeah, and it felt really bad. And I felt very sad. And now I'm screwed because I can't seem to figure out how to have a healthy relationship. And then instead of saying that again and again and again, you're saying, right, the resentment I'm feeling. And you just focus on whatever's coming up for you, and you don't even need to rationalize it. The good thing about tapping, especially when we don't remember or when we don't understand why, and this happens a lot, but why am I suddenly feeling so triggered? Why am I suddenly feeling so angry? You don't need to know why. You don't need to understand where it's coming from. You just address it and you clear it and you let it go out of the system. Sometimes what happens is that while we're doing that, a memory suddenly comes to our awareness. Oh, that was an unexpected one. I didn't even remember that event anymore. And that's part of the processing. So yeah, so if you want to experience this firsthand, next Thursday, I'm going to run a session on tapping for fear. And normally what we do is, some rounds of focusing on what you want to clear. So it could be fear, it could be resentment, it could be stress, it could be anxiety, whatever is coming up for you. And then once we bring the intensity down, the emotional intensity down, because also when we are in a state of, anger or fear or deep sadness, deep grief, anxiety, we can't think properly. So it's very difficult to do the deep work. It's very difficult to get to the root of whatever the problem is. It's really difficult to work with the subconscious mind and to reprogram yourself into a more empowering mindset, because the priority, the body is so agitated, it's on fight or flight. There are so many emotions going on in there that haven't been released. So we're not going to have a lot of clarity of mind to do the inner work. So the first step is to release those emotions. And like I said, one of my favorite techniques is tapping. Another technique that I really, really love is breath work. And I've done, I think, only a couple of sessions of breath work here. Sorry, I'm just talking nonstop. And my throat is going a bit like, give me a break. Breath work is great because it's the only bodily function, the only automatic bodily function that we can control and that we can influence voluntarily. You can't tell your heart to beat faster or slower as you fancy. You can't tell your stomach to digest your food quicker or to take a break and do it later. You can't tell your blood to flow or not. You can't control those functions. But breathing, you can do. You can do it automatically. When you're sleeping, you're still breathing, because otherwise you would die, and that would be a big problem. So while you're sleeping, you're breathing. While I'm talking, I'm not thinking, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. No, I'm thinking about what I'm saying, but I'm still breathing. But you can also change your breath. I can also decide to breathe in a very deep way or shallow, quick or slow. I can do my inhalations and my exhalations differently, to different counts, in a different way. And that has a really, really, really big influence in the body, especially in the stress response or the fight or flight response. Because one of the first things, well, I don't know if it was one of the first, but one of the main things that happen when you're triggered, when we perceive a threat and the stress response is triggered and the fight or flight response is turned on, is that we start breathing in a more shallow way and fast, because we need a lot of oxygen, for the blood to flow, for the muscles, for our limbs, because we're going to need to either chase the lion or run as fast as we can. So we need that shallow breathing. So they go directly hand in hand, stress and shallow breathing. Now, if we change the way we breathe, you can't tell your body, hey, body of mine, beautiful body of mine, please, could you please switch off the stress response? I'm tired of being so stressed all the time. I'm tired of not sleeping. I'm tired of having sweaty hands. Please, could you turn off the fight or flight response? No. If only, Kieran says, right? No, you can't. But if you change your breath, that is sending a message to the body that you are safe. That's the way, that's the switch. That's the switch. And until I trained as a breathwork coach and realized how I hadn't realized how important that was. And I hadn't realized how most people, including myself, we don't breathe deeply enough. And sometimes, there are lots of forms of breathing patterns that we can fall into. It can be shallow breathing. Sometimes we hold that breath. I realized that when I was working, for example, I was practically not breathing, like my body wasn't moving. I was holding a lot of tension. And when I realized, I was like, oh my God, I don't think I'm getting enough air. How have I survived like this all these years with this tension? So that is something you can change. And when you bring your breath into longer and deeper exhalations, you are using that switch. You are telling your body, hey, it is safe to be here. Hey, there is no threat. There are no lions, I promise. And your body understands that. Your nervous system understands that. So breathing, pay attention to how you breathe out through the day. If you tend to hold your breath, or, if it's like very up here in the chest rather than the belly breathing, again, inhaling deep into the belly, exhaling deeply, like the babies breathe, or if you've done a lot of yoga, you're probably familiar, with the emphasis of belly breathing. Again, it sends the body the signal that you are safe, that it is okay to go into that rest and digest mode, into that healing and repairing mode, which is so important. It is essential, right? So one of there are lots of different breathing patterns that you could use, the different techniques that you could choose from. To keep it very easy, if you focus on letting the muscles of your body, your belly, your chest move freely, and sometimes bringing awareness to that is enough. The body can start relaxing on its own. And making those breaths, those inhalations and exhalations as longer as possible and as deep as possible. Before you go to sleep, for example, you can introduce counts. I really like what they call coherent breathing, which is inhaling for a count of 5 or 6 and exhaling for a count of 5 or 6. That's what they call optimal breathing. So that takes you into the optimal number of breaths per minute. And it's really good to do before going to bed. You can add lots of visualizations. There are so many things that you can do, and I will probably be offering some sessions on that here, or as part of the meditations, or as part of the tapping, for example. We can do a bit of breathing first to bring that intensity down. But that's so important, to bring that body to that state of relaxation when healing can actually take place. Healing can't take place if the stress response is on all the time. If the body is alert and hypervigilant all the time, healing can't happen like that. I'm just going to catch up with the comments. Oh, Nia saying, I'm actually attending a tremor remedy workshop tomorrow, which I'm intrigued by, hoping to shake off some energy blockages. Yeah, because that's the idea, that we don't do that. Animals do that. It as part of their instinct. They just go, they shake it off and off they go to enjoy their lives, But no, we keep, we we relieve the story, we relieve the trauma, we tell ourselves that we are not good enough, that we don't deserve love, that beautiful things are never going to happen for us, you know, and they just go and they're perfectly fine. So yeah, I haven't tried that, so I can't vouch for that. I don't know, but yeah, I guess it's based on that idea. Jay saying, my brain doesn't seem to want to remember the lessons I've learned, keep ending up in loops of repeating behavior. Sometimes we're just not ready, and maybe there is something you're still holding on to, or you know, that you still need to let go. I know what you mean, but sometimes it's like, but again, this pattern again, when I've worked on it like for 10, 20, 100 years. So yeah, when that happens, sometimes it's that maybe we're not ready to let go of something that we still need to let go. Is normally the body protecting itself. Maybe there is some deep fear that if we let go of that, something bad is going to happen. This is very, 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 very common, and one of the main things that keeps us holding us back. And on all this, now I'm going to talk about the subconscious mind and how to work with it, which is a piece of art. and yeah, sometimes the subconscious mind has made a decision that if you let go of that pattern, or if you remember the lessons, or if you integrate the lesson, something bad is going to happen. So it might be worth exploring that, and that is very, very common. Is there a specific finger to use to each point? No, there is no specific. I like to use a few fingers depending. So for example, the points for this point, I would use all of them in line to cover that section. Then the top of the head, I would use, yeah, like kind of like 2-3 fingers. The points are a bit more specific, like the beginning of the eyebrow or this one, for example, it just feels better to do it with one finger. But no, you can do it, you can cross over, you can do both at the same time. So yeah, there are I have lots of videos explaining that if you want to have a look, or come to the live session next week when we're going to do it all together, and I'm going to guide you through that. But no, it's really, and once you remember the sequence, which is, yeah, those points, and then these ones here and one here, that's the sequence. And then yeah, you can repeat it as many times as you like. It's super easy to remember, so that's why I love it. I like simplicity. These sophisticated techniques, you know, or this kind of like complicated protocols, there's so much magic in simplicity, in keeping things simple. Sometimes the more sophisticated techniques, I think they're kind of a way of avoidance, and just, you know, it's not. So yeah, very simple but very powerful. That's why I love it. Kira saying, you've just taken my breath away. So now I need breath work. Breath work is really, really, I mean, breath work sounds again like something very, breath work. Well, then just breathe. Guys, just breathe. At some point I thought, I really want to learn, because I'm always about the, you know, learning the complicated stuff and trying the advanced stuff and see, you know, if it explodes or what. I'm always up for a good experiment. So I was really looking forward to learning the super complicated and sophisticated breathwork techniques. And it turns out that I just had to bloody actually breathe, you know, through the nose, in and out, as simple as that, without holding it, without keeping it here in the chest, just allowing the body to breathe. Again, the most simple exercise became my favorite one. So, so powerful. I'm gonna breathe like a baby. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thank you. It's a lovely section. Much appreciated always. Thank you so much. Oh, from Dublin. You're in. I didn't know you were in Dublin, Kieran. Thank you. Thank you for your lovely words. Yeah, you can also focus on releasing on the exhalation, on releasing, brushing away all the negative energy. You know, with Theta healing, we do a lot of that, which I'm going to mention in a second. But yeah, you can add those visualization, breathing in fresh energy, all the positive, the fresh air, the clean energy, and exhaling, you know, all the old stuff, the tension, the stress, let it all go out. So yeah, Did you say you had a tip for the subconscious mind? I have a whole section about the subconscious mind because that's the next step. And yeah, probably I should have started talking about that earlier because this is going to become a long session. But, you know, we're here for the deep stuff, guys, not for just, you know, these 3-minute long YouTube videos where you go like click, 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 click. They were never for me. I never say what I want to say. So I'm really bad at those short videos. So yeah, I prefer these longer sessions. Anyway, so yeah. So once you have bring the body to a state where you can work or where you can do the deeper work. So when you're not in fight or flight anymore, when you have released all those emotions, you know, you come to a place of being more centered, feeling calmer, then the deeper work, because yeah, you can release the emotion, but the thing is that, or you can release the stress, but the thing is that if the subconscious belief that you have is that you are not good enough, or that you don't deserve love, or that nothing good is ever going to happen for you, you can clear it. You can clear the thank you, Kieran. You can clear that stress. Yeah, you can take it out of the system, but it's going to keep coming back in a way or another. So it's by going back to the root, to the moment where that decision was made, where that decision happened, that we can go there and work with the subconscious mind and reprogram it. So how do we do this? So first of all, identifying the root cause. Very often what I do, and I think I've done this in some sessions before when I've talked about healing the past or reprogramming the subconscious mind. I'll probably do another one around reprogramming the subconscious mind, because I think it's something that, you know, deserves like plenty of time and for you to actually experience it. So yeah, so I'll do another one on that. But basically the idea, and sometimes I'm working with someone and they're like, I'm so stressed and I have so much anxiety and I have no idea why. And it's like, right, okay. So what's the emotion you're feeling? No idea. What thoughts? I don't know. I don't know. I just feel this black ball or this black blockage in the stomach. Wonderful. Right. Okay. So sometimes it's the body, the one that is going to tell you and that is going to direct you to the root of the problem. Tummy tension? Yeah. Yeah, lots of physical symptoms come from emotional roots. Hi, Danny, welcome. So yeah, so we start, even if you don't know why, or if you don't even know what you're working on, we can work on the body. So hi, Colbert, I can see more people joining now. It's wonderful. Welcome everyone, and thank you for the ones who have been here with me for 51 minutes already. So yeah, so sometimes it's about tracking the body and where that takes you. So I would say, right, okay, so it's this fear, or is this black ball in the stomach, or is this part of yourself that is telling you that you're not good enough? Wonderful. Tell me another time where this part of your life has been present before. Tell me another time of your life where you experienced this black ball or this black blockage in the stomach, or this tension in the neck. Whatever you have to work on. You could have sometimes you have a very clear idea on the direction you need to take. Sometimes it's just a sensation, right? It doesn't matter. We can work with any of that and all of that. And when you're doing that, when you have done a bit of tapping and you're tuning into that sensation, when you're tuning into the fear, into the anxiety, whatever emotion is present, whatever physical sensations are coming up, whatever the belief or part of yourself is coming up, when you start by doing the tapping, you're tuning energetically into it. And I promise, you're probably thinking, I can't do that, it's not going to work for me. And I promise you, when you do that, if you close your eyes and you let it flow, there will come I'm 100% sure that it will come, a memory will come to your awareness, or it will take you back to maybe 3 years ago. Right, okay, give me another time where this was present. 10 years ago. Okay, now I'm 3, I'm 5, I'm 6. I promise you, lots of different memories that maybe you think, but this is really relevant. I don't see how that could be related. Well, let's go there. If it's coming up to your awareness, it's for a reason. It's because it's needing to be healed, it's needing to be cleared. That's why it's coming to your awareness, right? And then once we identify the root, right, okay, the idea is to work with that memory and understand the decision that was made and why led you to make the decision that you are not good enough, that you're never going to be successful, that you don't deserve love, that beautiful things or happy things don't happen to people like you. Where were you? What was going on? What were you trying to protect you from to make that decision? And sometimes it's a one-off event, you know, something that left like a really big imprint, but sometimes it's something that happens throughout the years, right? So maybe the first time that someone laughs at you at school doesn't leave a big imprint. It's like, yeah, okay, this wasn't pleasant, but okay, I'll come again tomorrow. And then someone else laughs at another thing, or then someone else eats your lunch, your sandwich that your mom had prepared for your lunch. And then another day something happens, and then another day you fall in love with a boy and he seems to like your best friend, and that sucks. And you know, and it's like throughout the years or throughout different experiences that eventually you're like, I had enough. Being myself is not safe, because if I am myself, these things happen. People laugh at me, people steal my sandwich, boys don't like me. It's not safe to be myself. I'm going to try and be someone else. So there is a part of yourself that still lives within you that holds that belief. So it's all about understanding when the decision was made and what was going on around that time that made you make that decision. And then the way I work, and the reason why I said the subconscious mind, the way I work with this is theta healing is a really powerful technique. Last Thursday, the session, the guided meditation was with theta healing. So that very often at the beginning of a session, I will lead this short meditation that takes us into a theta brainwave. That's why it's called theta healing, which makes it much easier for us to access the subconscious mind and to work with the bottom of the iceberg. So if you think about the iceberg, like the bit that is above the water is the conscious mind. So what you are aware of now and what you have integrated consciously, but below the water there is this big chunk of ice that holds all the juicy beliefs and all those juicy decisions that are actually the ones running the show for you and the ones creating your life for you and the ones confirming if you're good enough or not, if you're going to be good at work or not, if you deserve to have beautiful relationships or not. This is where the magic happens. This is what we need to explore. And the thing is that talking therapy happens at this level. So yeah, you can get a lot of awareness from here. You can have a look, you know, and be like, oh, I can see there's something down there. But when you work with the subconscious mind, which is what I'm talking about, and you release all this emotion, then you're jumping, you're diving into the water, put your goggles on, and then you start looking at everything that's in there. And that's where the magic happens. That's where the magic happens. And with techniques like theta healing, for example, it's much easier to access the subconscious mind. Theta healing also has the spiritual component of helping us connect to God or the energy of the creator, which for me makes it very powerful as well. And it's really interesting because if I ask sometimes we start the session and we start talking and we're talking conscious mind to conscious mind. It's like, yeah, because I remember, I've always had this problem at work, and I'm not sure why. They always fire me, and they always. Morgan is like, right, okay. Let's do some breathing. Let's do some meditation. Let's take you into that theta brainwave state. Let's talk to the subconscious mind. Close your eyes and talk to the subconscious mind, whatever is coming to your awareness. And then it's like, oh my God, I'm suddenly 5 years old and I'm in class and the teacher is bullying me and the teacher is telling me that I'm always going to be a no one and that I'm not smart enough, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. So sometimes, events that you don't associate with each other, or that you wouldn't think that are related, when you talk to the subconscious mind, is when all these events and all these experiences start to happen. And then it's about talking to that part of yourself. So it's a lot of, you've probably heard, sorry, I'm losing it. I can't speak anymore. I think after 1 hour, my brain goes already like, yeah, we've hit the peak around 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. Now we're going downwards. Anyway, so it's about going to that memory and resolve it. You've probably heard about internal family systems as a modality, which is really, 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 really powerful. So it's about talking and integrating different parts of ourselves. One of the main modalities I use is also matrix reimprinting, which is an addition. It developed from tapping or EFT. So it's called matrix reimprinting because it's all about going into the matrix, so the field, let's say, where all those memories are stored and where all those memories still live, and reimprinting, rewriting the story. It's about going there and checking with your younger self, with that part of yourself or with that memory, and achieving resolution. The key here is to achieve resolution. What do you need? Younger part of me, inner child, whatever you want to call it, shadow part of me. Shadow work is also a lot about going deep into the subconscious mind and bringing light and awareness to those parts of ourselves that maybe we don't want to see, or we are not ready to see, or that need healing. So yeah, parts of ourselves, inner child, internal family system, shadow work, shadow parts of ourselves. What do you need to change your mind? You made the decision that it wasn't safe to be yourself that day at school or after that year at school. You made that decision. What do you need to change your mind? What do you need to believe something else instead? And it's absolutely amazing. It's fascinating, the dialogues I have witnessed and I have experienced personally as well, between someone here and a younger part of themselves, or in a memory, even a past life. If you wanted, the process would be the same. Because maybe some people are thinking, but what about ancestral trauma? What if it comes from a past life? It's the same technique. You don't need anything sophisticated. You don't need to call upon God knows what entities and channeling and all this. It's the same procedure. This story lives within you. This decision was made 1 year, 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years ago. Let's rewrite it. Let's change it. So let's work with your younger self, or with your previous past self, whatever is showing up for you. There's no right or wrong. And it doesn't even mean that it's real. Sometimes people say, I don't remember that. I don't even think that happened. I don't remember that happening. I don't know how that could have happened. But maybe it's just the way it's stored in your subconscious mind. So it's not even about understanding or believing if it's real or not. If it's just about, that's the story that lives within you. That's the movie that lives within you. Let's rewrite it. And I'm telling you, it's so beautiful. And so, for me, when I witness this, it's so incredibly beautiful and so fascinating to see those dialogues and to see those younger selves, or those different parts of the person, saying, well, I think I want to go and say to mom all the things I would have liked to say, but I didn't have the courage to. Or I want to go and talk to these bullies and I want to show them that I'm a wonderful person. Or I want to go on stage and I want to show everyone my talents or whatever. But sometimes it's just, I just need to cry. We just need to release it, emotion. We just need to do some tapping. Very often, the younger self would say something like, wow, just the fact that you're listening to me, it's making the world of a difference. Now I know I'm not alone. Now I know that I don't have to go through this on my own. So please note that we're not talking here about, right, so let's go there and let's just pretend and visualize that this didn't happen. that you weren't bullied, or that there was no abuse, or that there was no violence, or that there was no neglection. It's not about changing what happened in the past. It's about, right, this happened, you made this decision. Can we reframe it? Can we say it in a different way? Can we rewrite that story so the self-narrative says something different? That's the key. That's the key. And when that happens, when you work with the subconscious mind, and the reason why I do a lot of visualization and include the elements of guided meditation in my work is because one, it accesses the subconscious mind. So it disengages the conscious mind to go into that more relaxed meditative state, but also that inner dialogue, when it's done through visualization, images are the language of the subconscious mind. So if you're in that state when you're really in the zone, if you're not thinking logically, you're really accessing the subconscious mind, and you're there, you're not reliving the trauma, you're not becoming your younger self, you're just traveling, like you were watching a movie and you were stepping into that movie and you were talking to the characters, to the main characters. So when you go there and you have that dialogue, and your younger self says, right, I'm gonna express myself, I'm gonna receive the love I didn't receive, your subconscious mind is reprogramming itself. It doesn't understand the difference between that being in the here and now, back then, fake or real. It's reprogramming itself. It's creating new neural connections with those positive emotions that are being experienced, with those emotions, with those old emotions that are being released, with those new actions. It's reprogramming itself. You are creating, developing new neural connections. That's how you change your core beliefs. That process is wonderful. And then we do a whole process of bringing that, when we get to a very positive state in that memory, the process of re-imprinting or imprinting is about bringing it to the body again. We bring it to the heart, and we do some breathing there to really integrate it with the electromagnetic field of the heart, becoming in resonance with it, and it becomes like your new state of being. And that's what you radiate, that's what you become in resonance with. And the power of this work is that the more you heal and the more you rewrite your story, you don't have to worry so much about manifestation, and making your life happen and achieving your goals. And please teach me the ultimate manifestation technique where I can write this affirmation for X numbers of times at this time that coincides with this portal and with angel God knows what coming down, and boom, it's magically going to manifest. You don't need that. You don't need to stress about what's going to happen. You don't need to create it that way. You just heal yourself internally. You rewrite your story and you become a magnet. You literally become a magnet for those beautiful, joyful, happy events, for those healthy people that you deserve in your life. But you don't need to be like searching or creating it in that way, or in that kind of manifestation type of way that is very fashionable these days, right? What's the latest trendy manifestation technique? If there is a subconscious belief deep under the water in that big chunk of ice, if there is a subconscious belief that goes against whatever you want to manifest or whatever life you desire, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. But when you do that, even when you don't set specific goals, you just become a magnet. When you rewrite your story from I'm not good enough to I deserve the world, imagine if your program, same as your computer, your laptop, has a lot of programs operating in the background, right? And sometimes some of those programs became out of date and they don't work anymore. They just take up a lot of space and they break something. It's not compatible with certain app or with certain software, and things don't work, right? Now, when you download all the updates and clear all the old programs and everything is working perfectly, I can't believe that I'm here sitting in front of my laptop and I'm talking to 156 people from different places of the world, and you can see me, you can hear me, I can read you, I can interact with you, I can see the hearts coming, I can see your pictures. Wow. But I have no idea what program is creating that. I don't know anything about the code or anything like that. Probably the worst person in the world when it comes to technology. So it's the same with your brain, it's the same with your mind. Imagine if you could uninstall, you know, all those old programs, and instead of having that, you're not good enough, you made a mistake again, oh, you forgot to do this, oh, you're a mess, you're never going to change. Imagine your programming by default where you deserve the world, you are amazing, you're so confident, everything you need is coming to you, happens to you easily and effortlessly. You deserve to be happy, and you deserve to have the most joyful and beautiful relationships. Imagine those were the programs running 24/7 in the background. How would your life be different? Because I'm sure the answer is, I could do with uninstalling some of those old programs and installing some of the new ones, right? And it's incredible the transformation you can achieve by doing that. Oh, Nia is saying matrix imprinting sounds similar to holographic kinetics, an ancient Aboriginal method used here in Australia. I'm going to look into that because I had never heard of that before. So thank you for that. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have a look at that. So yeah, so then once you've done this inner work about, you know, dive into the subconscious mind, going to all those memories, talking to those parts of yourself, rewriting the story, what do you need, what do you need to do, giving your subconscious mind a good reprogramming, those positive experiences, those positive emotions, and rewriting your story, that at that point is when things like affirmations, positive thinking, manifestation techniques, you know, visualizations of what you want to achieve, that's when that works. So I'm not saying that affirmations, you know, or manifestation doesn't work. What I was saying is that if there is something in your subconscious mind that is blocking it, or that doesn't agree and that is not on board with the vision you're trying to create, doesn't matter what manifestation technique you use, it's not going to happen, it's going to be blocked. But once you do the work, yeah, then using all those positive affirmations, sometimes I like to have positive affirmations like on loop, you know, just with beautiful music in the background while I'm doing, I don't know, admin work, when I don't have to concentrate a lot, obviously not when I'm doing this session or I'm in a one-on-one session with a client, but you know what I mean. Having that in the background when I'm doing something that doesn't require a lot of my attention, that's really wonderful. Vision boards, you know, I have my own vision board here with what I wanted to achieve in 2024, keywords, my business plan, you know, and that really works. All the positive thinking, you know, you've probably tried or read a lot about positive thinking and maybe think this is absolutely bollocks because it's not working for me. I'm just making myself miserable because I'm trying to convince myself of a positive affirmation or a positive state of mind that I don't fully believe in, of course. And it can be very frustrating because you try and you have these gurus telling you that if you think positively, if you repeat these affirmations, if you do this manifestation technique, then your life is going to miraculously change. And yeah, there is an element, they are useful, they have their place, but without the deep inner work, not so much. It's a bit of a waste of time. They can be done in conjunction, obviously. So yeah, so to recap a little bit, right, so I'm going to do a recap because Carla is saying, so how do we do all of this? I hear the power of what you're talking about, though how do we do it? Yeah, Liz saying exactly, I'm seeing it all over inside. Yeah, the latest manifestation technique and all these things, which again have a place, but yeah, without the deep work, it's like you're bypassing the main step. So let's do a recap with all the practical tools and how to do it in a practical way. So first step, reduce emotional intensity if there is stress, if there is anxiety, through tapping and breath work. So the thing is that all these elements that I have described, like I would probably need a long session for each one of them, kind of like to demonstrate and to follow you. But I do have resources here that you can use, that you can look in my profile and follow that. So for tapping and breath work, yeah, I definitely have recorded sessions that you can follow along. So it's just about learning the sequence and focusing on what you want to clear at each time, and that will bring the the emotional intensity down, and it will take you out of the fight or flight. Breathing, again, like I said before, one of my favorite techniques is just breathing in for 6 and exhaling for 6, brings the heart into cardiac coherence. If you want to add some form of visualization, you know, like breathing in healing energy, exhaling old energy, stagnant energy, even better. There are different variations. Next Thursday, I'm going to do a session on tapping, and I'm going to definitely add some elements of breath work. So yeah, so that's one to join and follow along if you want to experience that. The subconscious mind work, the thing is that I wish I could give you I do have lots of guided meditations where you can engage with your subconscious mind. The courses I have here, especially the one that is called Step Into Your Power with Confidence and Joy, teaches you this process step by step, and it has different exercises to engage with the subconscious mind, along like a 30-minute long guided healing meditation to go that takes you to a place in time, and you can experience that. So that would be a good way to go about it. The recorded sessions that I already have, just follow along. The magic of this happens when you work. You can do it on your own. Like you could literally start with a bit of tapping, say, you know, connecting with whatever is present in the body, whatever emotion. Okay, where is this taking me 5 years ago, 50 years ago, when I was 5, whatever that is, and kind of like teleporting yourself to that moment in time and having a conversation with that younger self. You can do that yourself. You can sit down on the floor or on the sofa or lie down in bed, play some nice music in the background, and you can track that, see where that takes you, and have that dialogue with those inner parts of yourself. You can totally do it on your own that way. And I have done it sometimes, and it can be really, really powerful. Now, I have to say that when I have done it with someone that facilitates that for me, is like 10 times more powerful. But you can start, you know, having that, because also, you know, some things can be difficult to process, and you might get stuck, you might not know where to follow, but you can totally do it. You also have the option of the follow along courses that I have, or the recorded sessions or guided meditations to help you with that, or yeah, working with someone that can take you through that work would be ideal. And then the final element is developing that empowering mindset, goal setting, visualization of what you want to achieve, positive affirmations that you can tell yourself every day. I have a small notebook with positive affirmations that I keep adding, and sometimes when I need a boost or a reminder, I will read that out loud in the morning. Tapping is definitely an element of my daily routine. I'm lying actually, because I haven't done it in the last couple of weeks or so. The thing is that ever since I got pregnant, which by the way, maybe some of you didn't know, but I'm starting the second trimester now. So the first trimester I was very tired, and I had to really limit what I was doing. So my morning routine was a bit affected by this, and I was just doing basically the minimum. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you. And Evie, thank you. So yeah, but before that, when I was full energy and full on, it was part of my daily routine. And anything I would wake up feeling, it would be like, let's get it out of the system before I start my day, to make sure I start the day with the right mindset. And yeah, if it's anything that keeps repeating, that keeps coming back, that keeps bothering me, then let's try to track it, see where it happened, see where I made that decision, talk to that part of myself, have that conversation, rewrite it, and then develop the work with all the positive affirmations and all the things that I've mentioned here. Yeah, Mariana is saying everything that you're sharing is what I've experienced in my own healing. Thank you for your wisdom and experience. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Most of you guys, all of you are in such a wonderful journey and have so much to share it. Kelly, so you're using different modalities for all of this? Yeah. So the main ones that I mentioned were emotional freedom technique or tapping, elements of breath work, theta healing. So if you search for any theta healing meditations, that's a lot of the work with the subconscious mind, because that takes us to that theta brainwave where we can engage more with the subconscious mind. Matrix imprinting, which is an addition to tapping, which is all about going to those points in time where we made a certain decision about ourselves or others or about the world, rewriting it and kind of like reprogramming the subconscious mind. Also internal family systems, when we work with different parts of ourselves, different internal parts of ourselves, and again we have that dialogue and yeah, but I add that element of trying to get as close as possible to the subconscious mind, so the change is really deep and long lasting. So yeah, lots of different that's what I like to do. I like to, because I don't think, I said this at the beginning, I don't think one model suits everyone or one size fits all. It's all about using elements of all these years, when I've been training and working with different clients, I take, every modality I learn, I take what I see, it works, and it's like a combination of lots of different things. I'm never an advocate of this is the one that works and this is the one that everyone has to learn, this is the one that everyone has to do. And actually, when I'm working with a client one-on-one, some people don't like much of a guided meditation thing, because for some people it's just easy to go into that state. Some people don't talk much. Some people need to talk and express themselves and process that consciously, before we can get into this state. Some people really love the emotional release with tapping. Some people are not a big fan. They prefer to do it in a different way. So it's not even about, what I use from different modalities, but what works for different people and what they prefer. So I always adjust that based on what the person thinks, because we're all different, right? And we need different things at different points of time. So guys, let me know if you have any questions, any insights that you would like to share. We're going to start wrapping up. It's been 1 hour and 20. I was thinking to keep it to a maximum of 1 hour, but I'm such a chatty patty today. Like I just can't stop talking. I think because I had a break, for Christmas, no Christmas, summer, during the summer, and while I was feeling a bit more tired, the first trimester of pregnancies, and I'm like, I need to tell the world all these things. So so in terms of what's coming next, please do follow me here on Insight Timer so you're notified of future live events like this one, new courses, new recorded meditations and recorded content. I'm always uploading stuff. My main course is called Step into Your Power with Confidence and Joy, and it will take you through everything we've talked here in a step-by-step, like one lesson dedicated to each one of the steps. There is another one on relationships. There is another one on self-love. It's a self-love immersion, because self-love is so important for healing. If anyone is interested in the type of work I do and want to work one-on-one, now it's the perfect time to do it, because next year I'm going to be on maternity leave I will try to wrap things up by late February. I'm doing early March. So I will try to wrap things up by late February at the latest. So now I'm enrolling as many clients as I can in this last trimester of the year, so I can do the 3-month program, which is my main offering. So get in touch, send me a message or go to my profile and check out my website if you are interested, because next year I'm going to be busy with other affairs. What else do I want to say? Well, I'm going to catch up with the messages. And yeah, if you have any questions or you're facing any particular challenges, I always say, guys, I'm more than happy to hear from you. Drop me a message. I can point you to specific resources that I have already, whether that's guided meditations or recorded sessions. I'm always happy to share that with you. Yes, yeah, thank you. Congratulations on your parenting adventure. Definitely an adventure, yeah. Oh, I've enjoyed your limiting beliefs track, and it was great to catch you live. Oh, amazing! Thank you for joining live. Yeah, yeah. Bedtime for me. Oh, good night. Have a good night's sleep. Thank you, Liz, for being here. Then he's saying such a powerful message. I love hearing about this topic and can never get enough. Thank you for holding this space, Veronica. Well, thank you for being here because, yeah, I can never get enough of talking about it. So it's always good that there's always someone willing to listen. So thank you guys for being here and for sharing your experiences and your journey, because it's what makes these sessions so rich as well. Because otherwise it will be just me talking to, to a laptop screen and a small camera. So it wouldn't be so appealing. Guys, thank you for talking about it so much. Grateful. Wow, in California. So we started at 5:30 a.m. your time, an early bird. Yeah, you're definitely not gonna catch me at 5:30 a.m. my time here on Inside Time. Definitely not. I'm not an early bird, and I admire you guys. People who can wake up and get up so early, full of energy, and I would love to do that, but yeah, I guess that's not me. Oh, thank you, Evie. You are so wonderful. Thank you for being here. Again, this wouldn't be possible without you. Guys, without you, it would be just me going on a long rant. So yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Give me a follow so you can stay updated and notified of more events and content. And if you want to catch me live again, I will be here next Thursday is the next session where we're going to be exploring more tapping and breath work, and that's going to be a more active session, a follow along session where we're going to be like doing, and you're going to be experiencing all that. It's going to be a follow along session. So yeah, if you're up for that, I would love to see you here. Okay, my loves, like I said, please keep in touch. And thank you so much for the reviews you leave on my tracks and my courses, your donations, your beautiful words, for following me, your support. It means the world to me, and it keeps me motivation to keep showing up here. And let me know if there are any topics in particular that you would like me to cover, by the way, because I always like to hear what you're interested in. So please let me know. Thank you, Carla, for your generous donation. So much appreciated. Thank you so much, my love. Thank you. Okay, my loves, sending a big hug to everyone who was here and who's still here. Sending much love and light. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.